Out our man, Danilo Cavalcante has been captured. We'll talk about that a little bit. Dom, safe injection site debate is indeed stirring. It's stirring. We're going to hear more about that. And some questionable behavior again in Kensington. That's all this week in KRASNERLAND. My name is Dan Borowski, the producer of the Dom Giordano program on 1210 WPHT with the aforementioned Dom Giordano, the great one. How you doing, Dom?
I'm doing well. The nightmare is over. I'm celebrating as soon as I go home. Nothing to see here. Move on to another media story. What's the weather like? Let's show more weather. You know, that's the only thing to cover.
Last week we did the KRASNERLAND. We were right in the thick of everything with Cavalcante, and there was a lot of complaints about how things were being run. Not about the rank and file officers themselves, but about the perimeters that were being set up, the leadership. Here is the leader himself after the capture. What he had to say. Take a listen, Dom.
How are you feeling this morning?
Well, certainly I feel a sense of relief. We didn't get anyone in the public hurt, and we didn't get any law enforcement hurt, and that's huge. You know, that's something that is always a major concern in any one of these kinds of operations, and so to successfully bring him into custody and have everyone safe, that's a real success.
And walk me through this morning. Where were you? Were you here at the command post when you found out, and how did that transpire?
I was here at the command post. Actually, we had been looking at all of the information from overnight. We were switching out some of the tactical teams and some of the people on the perimeters. We had started that earlier in the morning, and we were working through the planning for how we were going to approach this search that we knew we wanted to conduct.
So you have there and he's getting a lot of support online. Josh Shapiro, everyone talking about Bivens and the leadership, and they did a great job, a fantastic job. But on today's show, Dom, we talked a little bit differently about how things were handled. I mean, it took 14 days.
Yeah, I don't see the celebration. Josh Shapiro, that's all this guy's going to do. And he's not even good at it anymore. He just gloms onto this, just like the patch over the highway. That's what he's about. He's dangerous, though. He's one of the rising big mouth Democrats out there. And I've had experience, Dan, debating him at an auction at a zoo, among other things. So I know Josh Shapiro. Look, this was, the cops that were out there. It was very hot, all that equipment. The guy running it and the whole operation, I would give them a gentleman's C on this. This isn't over. And one of the reasons they were handicapped, we had Bunny Welsh on the show, the former sheriff, the current sheriff, got rid of award-winning dogs to get even with the previous sheriff. So, I don't like the group shot with the cops and this guy, like 40 or 50 cops. I just don't see that as appropriate or necessary in this.
Here's a little bit from Shapiro himself, Dom.
Oh, boy. Here we go.
First and foremost, thank God there were no injuries to law enforcement or to the public. We obviously became deeply concerned after the suspect was able to steal a weapon.
Is that what made you come down here after 13 days?
There you go, right.
Shots fired. I want to say thank you.
Well, there were 7 shots
to dedicated law enforcement professionals from every level who each and every day go out of their homes, leave their families, leave their loved ones to keep us safe. The public over the last 13 days has had a chance to see what excellence in law enforcement means, what true dedicated professionalism is all about.
Thoughts, Tom?
Well, my thoughts are, here's a guy that this very same week endorsed Kendra Brooks, stone cold anti-cop hater, the Working Families Party in Philadelphia. He had plenty of liberal Democrats he could have endorsed. He chose to endorse her. That's what this guy does. So he has no right to talk about cops. Of course, he's got the FOP on the hook. So I'm kind of stuck here because he promises to give them more stuff. He never opposes Krasner, not in the slightest, not as governor, not as attorney general, not as anything. This man should keep those words cops out of his mouth. He is a fraud. He's the great pretender. Yeah. And he sniffed out yesterday. They must have been close because he was on the edges yesterday at the command post. And then today he surfaces, and I think the sheriff says sheriff or governor, some kind of law enforcement thing on there. He's dangerous, though. He is clever somewhat at what he does, and the media is in love with the guy.
Yeah. So you mentioned Kendra Brooks, socialist, straight up
Yes.
socialist here in City Council. And Dom, City Council, we got this is prime example, number one, why we got to keep these kind of socialists, the Workers' Party, out of council, is you get people in there like Ketsi Lozada, who proposes a bill to prevent safe injection sites. Dom, where does that stand right now?
Well, they're going to vote on it tomorrow. We hope to have her on tomorrow's show. I know you're working on it. She was on once before. It appears that even in the city of Philadelphia, Dan, there might be enough votes. Let's say 17. They need 9. They might have as many as 10 or 11. Guess who's against it? The person that Josh Shapiro just endorsed this week. The man talking about law enforcement, etc. Can he defend that? Of course, he's not asked about it. So I think in City Council tomorrow, it's going to pass. The problem is I have to look up how many votes you need. I think Jim Kenney, who's not doing anything else, is going to veto it. Even though that's the will of the people, there's a reason these politicians are doing this in Philadelphia. They're liberals, but they sense in their neighborhoods, etc., finally, people are against the idea of legalizing drugs. That's what this would come down to.
So Ketsi Lozada is the author of the bill, but also Mark Squila very involved with this. Doing some production work right here as we talk. We didn't have our meeting because we launched this right afterwards. I've been in contact with council member Lozada's people. The only availability they have this week, Dom, is Friday at 1:40.
Okay, that's fine.
You want, so we do our, so if you're a familiar fan of the Dom Giordano program, every day or every week at 1:45, we have either Neil Zorin or Scott Cronick talk about movies on Fridays. But you think this takes precedent over, you think, or priority?
Yeah,
over?
well, we can put them in at a different time. Yeah.
Oh, that's actually, yeah.
They're
Yeah,
flexible, I'm sure.
That's true too. That's true too. We could do that. So we'll talk. But that's awesome. Awesome. So you'll hear right here on the Dom Giordano program, hopefully, Ketsi Lozada and Mark Squila join us to give some more information about the safe supervised injection sites, because Ketsi is an individual who lives in Kensington, sees it firsthand what's going on here. And Dom, it's really frightening what this brings to neighborhoods and all. Like what we talk to Leanne down in South Philly often. What are the things that you hear that this brings, and why wouldn't you want this in your neighborhood?
Well, it brings addicts. It brings drug dealers. It brings a sense of we don't have any laws. We don't have anything we can deal with this. And Dan, I just want to know these people that think they can manage something this bad. Trank, the animal tranquilizer. These people, if they're getting drugs, are they going to test those drugs to see if that is present there? No, they're not. And we know the crippling diseases and what this causes. So, Dan, I remember way back when they started the needle exchange, I happened to be on a conference call because I was friends with Joan Krajewski with Les Miserables was on it. That was Jim Kenney. The only objection he had, he didn't like the language of the health department, which was written in very graphic sexual and street terms. But he was fine then with giving needles to addicts. And look where we are now. Here's the question. Rather than give street drugs to addicts at these safe injection sites, why not then buy the drugs, test them for the purity, meaning they won't overdose? Isn't that the logic of it? Why would you sit there and let them shoot up something that is loaded with animal tranquilizer, which causes horrific?
Oh, I got the picture, Dom.
consequence?
I'm looking here. I don't know if I have my graphic material little, thing. But seriously, if you're kind of grossed out easily, I apologize. I just want to show this to express the impact of what trank does to individuals, Dom. You just do a general Google search of trank wound on Google. This is what you're going to return. Again, avert your eyes if you're grossed out by medical kind of grossness, because this is disgusting. But that's your standard flesh wound from trank. You see just the skin just flaking off or something like that. It's disgusting. And the fact that we have a society now that some people are enabling this is absolutely frightening to me.
Well, and one of them is named Josh Shapiro, who, if you remember, signed off on this bill. All it does, it makes it harder for veterinarians, Dan, to treat animals humanely, but it doesn't do anything because he's an open border guy too and everything else. It doesn't do anything with stopping these people from ingesting drugs that are using this xylene, whatever the name is, the animal tranquilizer. So are they going to sit there in these supervised injection sites with people that are going to have flesh-eating wounds? Yes, that's what progressives want.
Gmail is commenting heavy in our feed right now. He says, put the injection site in the house next to Krasner's. I think you can endorse that.
Well, and the other thing is the site where they want this, they always want to put it where they tell us the addicts are. Guess what? If you put it next to Krasner's house, the addicts will go there.
Yep. And Dom, we were talking because they're talking about putting it in Kensington, and Kensington is I live right nearby Kensington, Port Richmond, the next neighborhood over, and I've had 2 incidents where I've had my catalytic converter stolen. It's peripheral crimes too. I mean, they need money to get their products, so that's where the theft comes from, or they get desperate, and that's where the violence comes from, or they're just damn stupid and they're high and they have nothing better to do. I don't know if that's what's going on here, Dom, but let's go out to Kensington and take a listen to what's happening here.
Can I, before you do that, 1 second?
Yes,
The woman that the Lozado, the woman that we're going to have on, Dan, from Kensington, she went up to New York because these people, whenever I debate them, are saying, well, you don't know what you're talking about. She talked about the site there and how all around it, it's a war zone, including the poop patrol.
Yeah, and this is what's going on in Kensington now, Dom. Take a watch.
For us, and Jen, the most recent fire happened this morning.
Yes, it did. It happened in the Kensington section of Philadelphia, exactly 1 week after another car was believed to have been set on fire right across the street. Neighbors are terrified their car might be next. Around 5 Tuesday morning, another vehicle on Braddock Street goes up in flames. The car owner sharing this video from his front door, and another neighbor capturing firefighters hosing it down.
The same spot, but across the street from my car on Braddock, was lit on fire as well.
Caitlin Hartzell shared these pictures of her small sedan burnt to a crisp a week earlier on September 5th.
It was like the last car my grandmother drove in before she passed. You know, there was a lot to it. So to see it go in flames, it makes you really upset still.
Philadelphia police say the ATF Arson and Explosives Task Force, the Fire Marshal's Office, and East Detective Division are investigating. On August 25th, a vehicle explodes into flames. The second car fire that week on Martha Street. Over on Sepviva Street, a homeowner sharing this video of a person on a bicycle setting a trash can on fire.
It's certainly concerning.
Okay.
I like to take pride in living here, and we certainly have no intentions on moving, but we would like to get this to stop as quickly as possible, for sure.
I don't know who's torching them. There is a lot of, pedestrians that walk up and down the area because they come from the avenue.
Back on Braddock Street.
I love the guy that says it's concerning. Yeah, you think? Yeah, cars being lit on fire right outside your house. Yeah, it's concerning, he says.
And why are they doing it? Because they feel like it. And what's Krasner going to do about it?
Like the guy riding the bike there. Like, what the hell is he doing? Why is he lighting the trash on fire? And is this like
because he likes to see destruction? It's part of the whole deal. And the arson rate is incredibly up in Philadelphia. Under what reign? Larry Krasner.
Dom, we talk about carjackings often here in Philadelphia, but if it wasn't bad enough to just get carjacked by a strong-armed individual, now Philadelphia is ramping up their game even further here in KRASNERLAND. It's horrible. Take a watch.
Well, it's happened 4 times in recent weeks, part of what Philadelphia police now call a string of rifle point carjackings. In each case, 2 to 3 men approach a vehicle on foot. One takes aim at the driver. Then they all take off in the car. Action News reporter Becca Hendrickson has the latest as police work to track them down before they do it again.
I felt like everywhere is not safe anymore.
Feeling unsafe, but lucky to be alive after this victim, who didn't want to be identified, says last Friday morning around 1 a.m. he was held at gunpoint on 6th and Porter Streets.
The second guy came out with that assault rifle with him. That's when I decided, I don't think it's worth it anymore to fight.
He says he gave the suspects his wallet and keys, and they drove away with his 2019 RAV4, which police traced to Camden.
You can't even park your car anymore in your neighborhood and feel safe that your car is going to be safe.
Police say there have been 41 carjackings in 2023 where suspects are stealing vehicles from Philadelphia and escaping across bridges along the Delaware River.
Carjackings now by rifle point.
Yeah, and 6 and Porter, Dan, historically is not. It's a relatively safe area. It's not Kensington. It's not Chestnut
Where is
Hill
what
either.
part of the neighborhood? Do you know? Is
South Philly. South Philly.
Is it like Harrogate or anything like that? Or
Oh no, it's better than that. I mean, it's the heart of lower South Philly. Porter is past how many blocks past Snyder? That's almost like the newer part of South Philly, even safer. Historically, you wouldn't see anything like that, but you could see it anywhere.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up here.
Yeah,
never mind. I thought I had that ready to go, but I was gonna pull it up on the map. It's sad. You heard the first clip. You heard the second clip. The guy said he doesn't feel safe anywhere. Do you think people are recognizing, waking up to the situation here in Philadelphia? Or are they just unaware of that they can actually make change if they really wanted to?
I think marginally they are, incrementally, minority neighborhoods and all that. But between now and the next election, we have a lot of work to do to connect this to Krasner. So he's lost some sway. I'm sure it's the candidate. It has to be, I think, an African-American female prosecutor who is able to articulate and get in his face. Then I think you have a chance. But Philadelphia is just backward and ignorant in large measure. So I can't offer hope that anytime soon this is going to end. He's not going to go anywhere. He's not going to relent. He is the most relentless. And the reason is, it's not just his ideology. He is the smuggest, most arrogant public figure I've seen in the last 30, 40 years in Philadelphia.
Here's a missed opportunity for you. So you talk about until people start talking or speaking up and being honest about the situation. Joanne Epps is the new interim head of the president of Temple, and she sat down for an interview with Fox 29. And this is just a prime opportunity to call attention to city leadership and the lack of safety that you feel in Philadelphia. But this was her response, Tom. Take a watch.
There are any new campus initiatives that students, families visiting will be able to see, and others that maybe aren't so obvious that have been implemented?
We have a whole lot of new cameras around here, including several of the 360-degree blue light cameras, one of which assisted in solving a shooting. Not on campus, may I add, but near campus.
As part of the violence prevention strategy on campus, Epps says the university is equipping Temple officers with new technology, including license plate readers, students and staff with a new app called TU Safe, and opening the Temple Community Gateway.
It's going to be a one-stop shop for North Philadelphians who need help. And that could be they'd like to know about adult education or job opportunities at Temple, or they want to know about mental health opportunities in the city.
Epps will not.
I can see you getting frustrated down there, Dom.
Well, there's a reason she was put in charge at Temple. I mean, this is just failure to address it. I want to know what the definition of the campus is also when she said off campus. That's a large part of the problem. These nitwit kids, now they've lost millions of dollars since last year in their enrollment, but there's still enough of these dopes from the suburbs who, quote, want the urban experience and want to live 4 or 5 blocks off what I would say is the bubble of the Temple campus. The odds are, if you do that for 4 years, I would be surprised, very surprised, if you're not violently attacked in some way, shape, or form.
So just a little context. Joanne Epps was a long time, I think 20 plus years faculty with Temple.
Yes.
She announced her retirement about 2 months prior to her, awarding the interim president title. If you know you're going to retire and you know you have an opportunity here to just tell the truth and fix so many things, why the hell not just have the courage rather than playing the game, trying to be creative? Oh, we're doing new technologies. Call out the city government. Call out Larry Krasner and his
She may not see it that way, Dan.
But,
she could be. I don't know her well enough to say that she. Some
you have
of them
nothing
are,
to lose, though. Like you have
Right.
nothing to lose in her spot. She's retiring
Right.
anyway. Just try to fix stuff and be honest. And I feel like you can snap your fingers and things would get much more safe.
Well, I don't think you can make Temple safe no matter what you do. You can have the National Guard walking every step, and still there's going to be carnage there. The bottom line is they ought to relocate Temple to the Navy Yard. We talked about that.
Yeah.
Then they would be accused of racism, though. I mean, that's the only way they'd have any degree of safety.
And then finally, Dom, you heard the cameras there at Temple. Also, here's Ocean City trying to be creative.
Ocean City is using new technology to thwart mass shootings and other crime. The company Zero Eyes, which is headquartered in Philadelphia, uses AI paired with human experts to scan camera feeds for guns. The Ocean City School District, as well as the city's boardwalk, is now using the technology. The company says their alert system, from AI detection to the dispatch of law enforcement, takes less than 30 seconds.
So it's you heard there. It's out of Philadelphia. Yeah. Is this something that you think Philadelphia should employ as well?
No, I'm more anti the whole camera thing at all. The solution is the garden variety we don't want to do. Why are we then going to put more people through it? I know we differ a little bit on this, an invasion of privacy, etc. When we're not putting in people in jail. I'm looking at a story right here. This man who was just convicted out of Montgomery County, Dan, for shooting and standing over top of and shooting the girlfriend who said she was pregnant with his child. It's all on tape. He was just convicted. Now, when we're talking this afternoon, it's the death penalty phase. And the prosecutor there, Steele, wouldn't even say if he's going for the death penalty. It's apparently so. The only reason they'll get the death penalty is she was 4 months pregnant. So now it's more egregious. It's 2 lives. It's funny how that works. It's a life there at 4 months, but not in the world of Josh Shapiro. Why, if he stood over top of, the jury only took 15 minutes to convict him, wouldn't you give him the death penalty? I don't care about Josh Shapiro's son. If enough people get put on death row and we do it consistently, at least the media has to talk. Josh Shapiro's son, through the father, is bullying these people to say, oh, what the heck, don't do the death penalty.
Yeah, it's
what do you have to do to get the death penalty?
I guess you can escape from a prison, go on the loose for 14 days too, and
they were willing to shoot you. Yeah, they were willing to shoot him, right?
Yeah, willing to shoot him and kill him there, but once he's back in custody, no, we're going to pay as taxpayers for this guy to live his life in prison.
And I want to know, what penalty does he get by escaping, since he has life imprisonment? Meaning, maybe he gets rotten food. I'm serious. If you can escape when you have nothing left to lose, well, then why not continue to do it?
It's true. It's true. All right, Dom. Well, that's all you got for KRASNERLAND today.
Thank you, Dan, very much for putting all that together.
Yeah, no problem. It was a very happy day today. finding Cavalcante finally get captured. And it was somewhat of a struggle to do some prep. I always say at the end of our show, let's pray that it's harder to prep and it's safer here in Philadelphia. I don't know.
Well, thank God he didn't make it to Philadelphia with Larry Krasner. Yes,
that's true too. He might be free still. But so all this prep, there's so much local news about this Cavalcante that I was searching through a lot. So I don't think it's any safer though. I just think the media was elsewhere this week. But Dom, we will indeed hope, we will pray that the city does become safer by next week, and there is less for us to talk about. But until then, tune in every day from noon until 1. Dom Giordano program daily.
Noon until 3.
Did I say noon until 1?
Yes, I don't know.
That's because youtube.com/@1210WPHT. We're finding us right now. Noon until 1, dining with Dom every day. Find us there too. All right. See you later, everybody. Have a good day.
Thanks, everyone.